Hello friends, thanks for watching videos from this channel again. Today we return to Vietnam. We restart our tour of Asia and today we are going to see the second part of Vietnam. If you haven't seen the first one, I'll leave the link up here so you can see Hanoi in the first part. I'm going to take them today. First we are going to visit a well-known place which is the Mekong Delta. We will navigate its rivers, then we will have a good lunch and in the afternoon I will take you to a very emblematic area, especially at the time of the Vietnam War with the United States. Let's go to the Siu Kai area. This area of Siu Kai is where a series of tunnels are located where they spent part of the war in the Vietnamese. And finally, to calm down and celebrate and have a more relaxed night, I'm going to take you to the Puppet Theater on the water. Well, I won't delay you any longer. Let's start with the video and I hope you enjoy it. The first thing we have to do is take the planes from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City was formerly known as Saigon. It is a city that is in the south of Vietnam and is famous for the fundamental role it played in the Vietnam War. It is also known for its iconic sites from the French colony that made a cathedral of the so-called Notre Dame Vietnamese made entirely of materials imported from France. We can also find the central post office from the 19th century. After a pleasant trip we are arriving in Ho Chi Minh City and we had a very pleasant flight very well attended by the Vietnam Ireland airline which we thank and hope to fly again very much soon. As you can see, we had a very special, very colorful bus which we traveled through part of the city. We stayed in a very good apartment and when we were heading towards the Delta area, we saw places that caught our attention because they are known in many countries of the world. We passed through different temples very well arranged, very beautiful. After a journey of approximately 30 minutes from our apartment, we now arrive to embark to go to the inner area of the Mekong, which is the one that interests us the most. We appreciate the beginning of the tour, a very crowded place with many boats now. We begin to appreciate what the Mekong Delta is, which in southern Vietnam is a vast maze of rivers, swamps and islands, where there are floating markets, visas surrounded by rose bushes. The boats are the main means of transportation and the tours are carried out in the region mainly leaving from the old Saigon today known as Ho Chi Minh or also known by the name of Conto as a river delta that is formed when the Mekong River and its wide number of network of tributaries join and flow into the South China Sea in southeast Vietnam. The entire delta region is part of a Vietnamese administrative region known as the Mekong River Delta region. This delta covers an approximate area of 39,000 square kilometers, although this area will depend a lot on the rainfall zone. As you can see, the flora is very dense. It is very difficult to see where the water begins. You cannot see beaches and in each curve we make it as a challenge because we cannot see what is in the next curve and that together with the dense vegetation makes it quite closed and many times the sun cannot be seen in any of the passages. The beautiful experience we have just had navigating these tributaries of the river. Now we go down and we find vegetation completely different from the one we know. New flowers, it is a very special vegetation for us. And at lunchtime this beautiful surprise very Vietnamese food, soup, fish very well prepared of course this great variety of fruits could not be missing after a beautiful lunch a group of singers from the area delights us with some of their melodies after lunch we went out to explore the area and we found this crocodile farm that uses it for food. The main way they feed it is with the frog farm, which is quite large and has a very, very large pool with a lot of it and now yes, we are going to the second visit today. After traveling approximately 40 kilometers, we arrived at the area of the Cu Chi tunnels. These tunnels are a very important tourist experience that we cannot miss. Here we can see one of the kitchen dining rooms that are currently underground. The main layer was removed to be able to see how they were in the past, but now we are going to really see how big they were. Here we see one of the many traps that were used for soldiers at the time of the Vietnam conflict with the United States. A variety of traps that were placed on the floor in order to immobilize the soldiers in this way due to a great lack of material. That the Vietnamese tried to use whatever they could find, take out from the different camps or that the United States personnel left behind. They would bring the different things that they could get and cover the needs that they had at that time in the war. We can see these holes in the earth are big because at this time for tourism, for Western people who can access it, they have done it touristically, but originally they were very small, very difficult to find, very difficult to enter. Here we see a person who is trying to enter, but this inward tunnel cannot be entered because it is not enlarged. As you can see, the jungle is very thick, very dense, and here we are seeing how those covers were hidden. There I tried to enter one of those tunnels. It is very difficult. I dropped the soybean where in order to hide the lid you have to enter in this very smooth way, and by placing the lid the tunnel was totally hidden. I can assure you that it is a nice experience, but not for those who suffer from claustrophobia. Here we see the entrance to one of the tunnels in this particular case has not been touched. It is the original size. Nothing has been done, but in this one that we are entering now they have made a larger size so that we who are taller can enter. But look at this tunnel that we are now, that although it has been made larger, the size is still very complicated. This is the tunnel network that we are seeing now. Now observe a shooting range where you can shoot different weapons such as AK-47, and the sale of ammunition is by bullet. Price. A museum has been made with those that have remained from the rest of the war. There are planes. We have different types of models. They are very well preserved. You can visit them. It is a very long timetable. All this material that was left when the United States. Among the great variety of weapons and planes and helicopters, there was one in particular that caught my attention, and that's why I took a couple of photos. Now, if what the puppet theater had promised him about water puppets are a popular traditional type of puppet theater that, when supported on the water during the performances, constitutes a unique variant in the world. It originates from the northern plains of Vietnam and is attributed an approximate age of 10 centuries. It is usually accompanied, as we see now, by light effects and excellent music. The apparent origin of this theater is in curious puppets associated with the image of scarecrows, inspired by the mannequins that the peasants installed in their usually flooded crops, and supporting the thesis in the possibility that they devised systems to move the mannequins at distances in order to scare away the animals. There is also a very specific theory that is the stone stele from the year 1122 BC, found in the district of Tiong Ting, in the province of Hainan, whose text recounts a king's victory in celebration ceremonies, included what is described as a water puppet show. This news of her courtly practice from the 12th century BC. It suggests that it was a previously established tradition. Established previously. Among the general characteristics of these Vietnamese puppets, it should be noted that they are made of wood and are moved quite a distance from behind with rods and string by puppeteers hidden behind cloth or awning screens. Sometimes the base with which the dolls move is made of land, but generally the majority is made of water. Traditionally the representations take place in ponds or lagoons, on the banks of which a small theater has been built with bamboo, wood or bricks, whose main feature is the awning which descends into the water from its upper parts. Behind that curtain and with water up to their waists, the puppeteers manage the puppets thanks to their sets of strings, hangers or rods, making them move on a submersible grid a few centimeters in the pool of water. We are nearing the end of the video. Thank you very much for joining me. Do not forget to subscribe. Give it a like when you leave if you liked it, and I will wait for you in our new video. I will leave you in the company of the puppeteers. Until next time, don't let me down. I imagine that you are not going to miss watching the panda bear. Also travel by train to Shanghai 331 kilometers away? No, I do not think so. I wait for you in the next video and we will see much more. We also visited the Umbrella Square. They don't know what the Umbrella Square is. Well, wait for the next video and I'm going to tell you about it, and finally I'll leave you with a night Shanghai. Until next time, don't let me down.